Hello and welcome to the Sports Show with Bob Spino, where, as you can see, folks, we have a star-studded guest. Who do we got here today, Bob?
We have longtime Angel manager, longtime Dodger player, Mike Scioscia, and we are so blessed to have you. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good, Bob. Good, Rob. How are you guys doing?
We're hanging in. We're trying to get this show going, and it's guys like you that definitely can help that. And we appreciate you coming
greatly
on.
appreciative to have you here.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
sure. So tell us about you were born in Pennsylvania, right? Not far from New Jersey.
Born right outside of Philadelphia and Springfield. Grew up actually in Morton, Pennsylvania, probably 6 miles outside the city. And huge sports fan, growing up in Philadelphia. Grew up in an area where the Phillies weren't very good. Loved the Eagles, the Flyers, Sixers, all kinds of basketball in Philly. And as I traveled around, I really find the connection with Philadelphia is very, very unique. And it's you find people in every city. Find a Philadelphia cheesesteak place in pretty much any city we were ever at.
Right.
And if you go to Philly cheesesteak place, you're pretty certain that the owners are from Philadelphia, and that's that's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's like the only place to eat cheesesteak.
Mm-hmm.
But so you went to the Dodgers were your first team, right?
Yeah, I actually signed a letter of intent to play baseball at Clemson University.
Oh, really?
Out of high school. But before I went to Clemson, they had the major league draft, and I was drafted by the Dodgers. So the decision was, do I want to go to school, or do I want to sign professionally? And
right.
I planned on going to school. I called Ben Wade, who was the scouting director of the Dodgers, and told him I was going to go to Clemson University and that I wasn't going to sign. And he said, well, we'll be in touch. And about 2 weeks later, I get a phone call in June of 1976. And the guy on the other line is Tommy Lasorda.
Oh, wow.
He was a third base coach for the Dodgers at the time.
Right.
Who was going in to play the Phillies. And he said, Mike, Tommy Lasorda, third base coach with the Dodgers. And, I'm thinking like, yeah, seriously, you're calling me for what? He says, I'm going to pick you up in an hour. We're going to go work out. And that's all it took for me to sign. After the workout and after he totally laid it out for me and told me what an opportunity I had and how I didn't want to have any regrets in life that I should sign with the Dodgers, I went home the next day, told my folks I wanted to sign, and was on a plane to Walla Walla, Washington.
Wow. Now, was Walter Alston still the manager? He
was still the manager. It was his last year, yes.
Wow. And so what was it like playing for the Dodgers when you first got there?
Well, it's kind of, I don't know how you put a culture shock going from even playing like high school ball or your summer league, your Babe Ruth league, whatever it is, to getting into professional baseball. It's a total culture shock. And I was 17 years old. I was very young, flew across the country. One thing about the Dodger organization, they would tell you, hey, we're going to treat you better than other organizations, but we expect more. And what they expected was you to handle yourself in a professional manner, be ready to play the game hard, off the field, make sure that you're not getting in trouble. All these things went with being a Dodger, and you learn very quickly about what the protocol was to be a professional. And we all had bumps in the road at young ages, but we definitely it made us better people to be connected with the Dodger organization, because there was a reason why that they had so much success. That tradition is something you can feel just by putting on the uniform.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, that even came back to Brooklyn days when they were here, and then they would always have to battle the Yankees, who also were they had quite a tradition too, still do. And I'm a Met fan, so I hate the Yanks, but
yeah.
But I always rooted for anybody playing them, and I remember you guys coming in when I was little, and I was always rooting for you guys. And I never thought that you end up playing the Mets in the playoffs, but you guys sure did. But I loved it when you beat the Yankees in the strikes year. That was awesome.
We beat the Yankees in the World Series in '81.
Yeah.
88, we beat the two best teams in baseball by far on paper. The 1988 Mets and 1988 Oakland A's.
Yeah.
They had the star power. They had the pitching staff, the bullpen. They had all the pieces you look at and you say, how's this team going to lose?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we found something late in the season, and wasn't like we were an also-ran team. We won 94 games, so
Right.
We had a good year.
Right, you did.
But as we got into the playoffs, every piece of our puzzle, nobody had to do too much. We were all kind of role players. We had a couple superstars in Kirk Gibson and Royal Hershiser, and what they did was magnificent. So we just wanted to play the game. We didn't think about who we were playing or where we were playing. We were worried about how we played the game, and we beat the Mets in a tough 7-game series. And
I know.
Then we beat the A's in 5. But if you go back to 1981 and you look at, we had an extra set of playoffs there we had to go through because of the strike. So we had first divisional series, then we had the league championship series, then the World Series. The Yankees were loaded. The Yankees had come off World Series in 77 and 78. They were still loaded with a veteran team, great pitching, great bullpen. And I was a young guy, and Fernando, we'd come up, I was 22 and Fernando was 20. And when we're playing the Yankees, we put it together, and those veteran players on the Dodgers, the Garvey, Lopes, Russell Say infield, and Yeager catching, and the outfield of with Monday and Reggie Smith, all that. These guys played great baseball, and we won.
You caught Fernando. What was that like that year? He was amazing. What a year he had.
Fernando was an amazing pitcher. All the way up to 1988 when he first hurt his arm. I never caught anybody with better stuff than Fernando. He had all the pitches. He had a unique pitch in the screwball. Great command. Had really ice water in his veins. It didn't matter if he perceived the situation as tough or as easy. He was the same. He just made pitches, and I think that's what made him such a great competitor, and obviously one of the best pitchers in baseball for a long time.
Yeah, it's funny when he used to look up before he threw the ball. It was the Mets cameras that detected it because you guys came to Shea Stadium, and Ralph Kiner was doing the game, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" And watch, he's not even. He's right. His eyes are going up in the air, and ever since then it became like a phenomenon. It was amazing.
Yeah, Fernando he was a great athlete. He didn't look like it because his body, when he first came up, he was a little portly, and you think he was an unbelievable athlete. He could run, agile, could do everything. So his balance was incredible as far as his delivery. So as he would look up, he was exactly where he needed to be as he would get reacclimated with his eyes in the strike zone. Right. And his release point was right there, and he could.
Was it?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, when you played in '88 against the Mets, and I actually watched Gary Carter, God rest his soul, say he thought that team was better than the '86. As a Met fan that watched every game every day, I did not. You know what I'm saying? But when you came up, I want to say it was was it the 6th inning or 7th inning in that game when you hit the home run?
That was the 9th inning.
No. The first time. Before that, you hit a fly ball to the warning track, did you not?
I flew out to center. I did, but like that whole game, the way it came together. We got an early lead, and they came back. And I agree with you. I think their '86 team was
better.
Was better because the guys were a couple years younger. There was a little more, I think a little more depth in their team. They had a great pitching staff, a great bullpen. But in '88, they were a powerhouse. I mean, there's no way to put it. They were the best team in the National League. And then as we got into that game and they took the lead, Tommy just said, "Stay close to these guys. Just keep staying close to these guys." And we stayed close to them by pitching well, but Doc Gooden kept getting better and better and better. And I think as he smelled it late in the game, he was probably throwing close to 100 miles an hour. He just let all the gas out that he had.
That must have been fun, huh? Hitting against that.
Well, you always think you can go up there and compete and get a hit. And Doc just kept bringing his accelerator to a different level. And I think the one fly in his ointment was when he gets John Shelby leading off the 9th inning, with 0-2 count, and just lost his release point and
he walked him. Yeah.
Right. So as I'm coming up to the plate, last thing in my mind is really a home run. I'm thinking, you have Keith Hernandez at first base who's holding John Shelby on, but he's off the base a little bit. The middle infield is a double play depth, so there's a huge hole on the right side. And I said, I'm going to try to pull the ball through this hole. If I don't get it enough, it's a double play, or I get it too much, it's Keith Hernandez, and he's going to make a blindfold double play. He was the gold standard of defense. He was an unbelievable defensive player.
Yes, I know.
I just happened to get a pitch that matched my swing.
That's
and
it.
I hit a line drive that got over Darrell's head and ended up going over the wall. And I was the most surprised guy in the ballpark. And one little side note, the ballpark got so quiet. I remember seeing the ball go out of the park.
Mm.
There was a kind of a groan, and then the ballpark got so quiet to where I could actually hear my spikes in the ground as I'm running around the bases. You could hear the spikes. Like when you were a kid and you go out in the field by yourself and you start to run, you hear the crunch of the dirt, and I could hear that running around the bases. I go, wow, this is really neat, but this is kind of surreal.
I got to tell you something, Mike. The reason I brought up the at-bat before, because I never forgot this. See, I kind of have a thing where when I used to watch batting practice, even when I went as a little kid, I would watch the guys and they would hit a lot of ground balls back to back, and then they would hit a lot of line drives, and then a couple of home runs. You hit the ball the time before you hit the home run. That was a pretty good shot, but he threw you like a changeup, and you hit it pretty well. And I'm like, wow, he had that home run swing on. I hope the next time he does, when he comes up, that Doc doesn't throw that ball over the plate. And this time,
Bob,
he threw that fastball, and you jumped on it before. He tried to get it in on you, and it didn't get in far enough, and you just went boom, really quick, and gone.
I don't think many people were thinking. I hope.
I did. I swear to you.
I was really not the offensive threat of some guys on our team. But
no. It was just the swing you had, Mike. You were zoned in.
But like it's the whole, like the totality of our team. We had Mickey Hatcher.
Yeah, right, Hatcher. Yeah, he was like nails. He was so tough.
Yeah, Rick Dempsey.
Yes, Rick.
We had so many guys that were role players.
Yeah.
Everyone felt like, okay, we're going to continue to grind, and we feel that something's good going to happen if we're playing the game the right way. And unfortunately, in that spot it did, but that was only the start of it. We go into extra innings against the Mets, and we're short on pitching. Right. And then all of a sudden, Kirk Gibson takes Roger McDowell's sinker off the scoreboard. And
he sure did. And let me tell you something about Gibson. He was great. He was great with the Tigers. I mean, he was 84. He was a monster.
He was a great player.
Oh, yeah. That team wasn't losing. I knew that from the first week of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People maybe don't realize how talented Kirk was. I mean,
yeah.
First of all, he might have been the fastest guy in our league. He could fly. Unbelievable power.
Yeah, that's right.
And played every game like it was his last. I mean, he played baseball like there was no tomorrow. So the way we took the lead in that game late, and then the way that Oral Hershiser, who had just pitched the day before, comes out and gets Kevin McReynolds for the last out of the game with bases loaded. It's just a fairy tale finish to that game.
Right.
So we go from almost going down 3-1,
right.
In games to all of a sudden we're up 3-2, where we tied it 2 to the next day. So within like 24 hours, we go from being, not even 24, maybe 18 hours, we go from possibly being down 3-1 to being up 3-2. So that's a huge swing in a series. And, we played well, though. Our team was good, and we played well that series. We had to beat such a good team.
And even after Kurt hit the home run in the 12th, the Mets almost came back. They had the bases loaded, did they not?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then Shelby hits Shelby makes this running catch on a play that he tried to do in game one that he couldn't get to. It was almost the same exact play. Mm-hmm. Only this time it was almost like a step closer, and he dove and came up with it.
Well, in game one, they set our defense at no doubles, which means they're playing back about maybe another at least 10, 15 feet.
Sure.
And Gary Carter.
Gary hit it, right?
Yeah, I mean, give him credit for even putting that ball in play. Jay Howe threw a nasty breaking ball down, and he just got the end of the bat on it to put it in play. And John missed it by literally an eyelash in center, which let the go-ahead run come in, and then
right
in game one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back to to game 4, John Shelby comes in and makes the catch, and he even made a better one to lock up game 5, diving in center field. So
yes, he did.
our team had I think we had a great defensive team, but we understood how important it was to continue to play defense. And like I said, when Tom would say, stay close to these guys, he meant play defense, pitch, stay close to these guys. Something will happen on the offensive side. And we made it happen.
You only had 3 home runs that year, right? When you smacked that home run against the Mets?
Yes.
But I'll tell you right now, I can't believe you didn't, because I knew, like, it just reminded me that I just had that flashback to batting practice. He hit one good the last time. It didn't go out. But this time, Doc threw the fastball, and he provided the power, and you just jumped on it. Really quick swing. And I knew it was gone when you hit. I put my head down.
Like I said, that was the last thing I was trying to do. I was trying to pull the ball through the hole.
Right.
Because Doc was really starting to fire it up. We knew, you knew you had to have the bat ready and have your swing a little shorter. And I actually took a little shorter swing and just made contact and ended up going out of the park. Yeah,
it sure did. And you guys end up, and then, David Cohn goes and writes that article. How mad were you guys when he did it?
That was after game 1. And
right. Because he pitched game 2.
Funny,
you guys killed him.
Tom Lasorda was really a special guy to play for.
Yeah.
He set an environment where you felt you were going to achieve. You were never intimidated. You felt you were going to achieve. He said, go out there and play baseball. Play aggressively. So we always felt that, that was all part of it. But Tommy was also, he was a master of psychology. He understood where players needed to be and understood how to get an edge with some, if something was out there. When that David Cohn story came out, we're riding into the ballpark the next day, and I hadn't even heard about it. We go into our locker. It's a different time now. Back then in '88, you don't have social media now.
I know.
We go into the ballpark, and everybody's locker is taped up the headline and the article about how David Cohn was calling Jay Howell a high school pitcher. And it got us riled up. We were pissed. And I don't know if David Cohn had much of a chance that night because we were
he had no chance. You guys roped him.
We were spitting glass coming out of the game. Into that game, I can tell you that.
Right. Thanks for the motivation, right?
Oh, You're not kidding. You're not kidding. I think, David, obviously, I mean, David's a great guy. He showed, I don't think he got caught up in the moment. And I think he just made some comments that, he kind of regretted, and it helped us, no doubt.
Now, he did come back.
I just want to say, sorry, Bob.
No, that's okay. He came back to win game 6, right? And in game 7, it was, Hershiser. He did to us what Tudor almost did with, the Cardinals a couple of years before. They would just throw him every day. Or Mike Scott in '86 almost beat us single-handedly, an ex-man, And I have no problem with that if a guy's going good. It drives me nuts that pitchers are being taken out too early now. I can't stand it.
It's a different world. Yeah, it's a different world, I think.
Yeah, sure is.
I think analytics will balance out a little bit. I
hope so.
When you have the pitcher like Worrell, I think his analytics would say just let him pitch, keep going. There are pitchers out there like that now. The Garrett Coles and the guys, DeGroms. Those guys, they don't. They keep going. I mean, they're studs.
They are studs, but I watch DeGrom all the time being a Met fan. They take him out way too. Look, he did win the Cy Young, but he should have won 20 games, at least 2 of the last 3 years. He had a 1-0 lead most of the time. They take him out, boom, 5 runs, we lose. And that's it.
There's no doubt there's some theories on how you want to on pitching management that is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they continue to expand rosters, like the 26 now, if they continue to expand rosters, it's going to be detrimental to our game because that will start to happen more often the more pitchers you're allowed. The reason why pitchers had to pitch longer, especially during the season, was because you only had 25 guys and you needed the innings from a pitcher to get to a certain point just to keep the functionality of the pitching staff where it needed to be. So these guys would face the guys 3rd and 4th time, and they understood how to maybe save a pitch for later in the game or not show a hitter everything the first time up. That's changing now, and I think it's changing it's changing in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
I think there'll be a balance. I do think there'll be a balance, and you might not see as many guys with with 200 innings as you did 25 years ago or 30 years ago, where some guys are falling close to 300 innings 30, 40 years ago. I don't know if you're going to see that again, but there's no doubt that I think you're going to see, if they can lock the rosters at 25, you're going to see starting pitchers have to pitch a little deeper.
They're going to have to.
I think that's the nature of our game. Our game isn't face one pitcher every inning. There's no doubt if you did
that's
that,
insane.
Your pitchers would have an advantage.
Sure.
So that's not the way the game's designed. You need pitchers to go out there and get to a certain point of the game. And I think if they do, then you're going to see this game bounce back.
I got to tell you this.
So that's the question. Sorry, Bob.
No, go ahead,
I was just going to ask, is there any aspects of the game that have kind of gone extinct that you would like to see resurrected, and vice versa, any aspects of the game that exist that you'd like to kind of see, be shoved away?
Yeah, I don't know how much time we have on this Zoom, but yeah, definitely.
As much as you want.
As much as you want.
I think the first one, there is so much focus being put on time of game.
Why?
And instead of looking at some of the time that's peripheral to the game, they're trying to change the game, meaning that a pitcher comes in, he's got to face 3 hitters. Let's put a guy on second base in extra innings. Let's line the game up this way. The first cause of action is, and you see it in golf, we're stuck in like 1960 as far as how advertising is delivered during baseball games. The 2.5-minute commercials or 2-minute commercials, I think, are need to be augmented with, like they do in golf, playing through. You'll see the play continue. You'll see your golfer continue, and a commercial will pop up. We need that in baseball because our innings are starting sometimes 2 minutes, 15 seconds, 2 minutes and a half. You get in a playoff, it's like 3 minutes and 15 seconds between innings.
Right.
So when I played, if I made the last out of an inning, I had to hustle to get my gear on to go out to throw a ball down to second base, just to get loose if I wanted to throw a ball down to second base between innings. You were starting innings at a minute 40 seconds, minute 45 seconds. The next inning started. Now we're adding 30 to 45 seconds on every inning. So if you take 45 seconds off every half inning, that's a minute and a half per inning times 9. There's 13 to 15 minutes of dead time you cut out of a baseball game.
Right.
So I think advertising is huge. Obviously, it pays the salaries. It's what people want. But we need to get more creative with how we deliver advertising between innings. So that's one thing I'd like to be changed. There's been a lot of, I think, disinformation about like bunting and hit and run and things like that. And I have a copy of the Sabermetrics Bible that's called Sabermetrician's Bible, called The Book. And if you read it, Sabermetrics doesn't say you don't bunt. They're not saying you never bunt. What they're saying is you don't need to bunt in the first inning or second inning because it makes more sense to play for a bigger inning. Well, we know that. If we're down by 3 runs in the 7th, we're not bunting. But if it's a tie game in the 7th, we want to get a productive out and move a guy along. And they're saying that in the right situations, that makes a lot of sense. And they're showing numbers that say why it makes sense. So I think bunting has gotten a bad rap. It's like the Edsel of baseball now, where people just, want to get it out of there. It's stupid. It just makes no sense. Bunting is definitely a strategy that should be used in the right situation. Absolutely.
How about hit and run too? That's kind of gone by the wayside.
What's that?
Hit and run.
Hit and run is another tool. But here's also, they're talking about not running into outs. They're looking at base running as a negative, and we always look base running as a positive, meaning if we could get 150 net total bases through base running more than another team, we would raise our team OPS, which is what the Sabermetrics uses as the gold standard. We would raise our team OPS by about 38 points. So if you have a team OPS of 720, which would be about average mediocre, we can make it in the top third by base running aggressively. Mm-hmm. So you would add to your total bases through base running, which will give you better offensive situations to score runs with a productive out. So this is all parts of baseball that need to, I don't know, someone just made it seems like somebody in a black hole said, hey, we shouldn't run into outs on the bases. Well, no one's trying to run into outs, but you know what? If we go first to third, I'll give you an example. We used to play Oakland A's were tremendous, just a tremendous team when I first got a chance to manage the Angels. And as the Angels, our offensive base running was really focused on going first to third to try to set up a better offensive situation for the hitter.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go first to third probably anywhere from 115 times to 135, 140 times a year. And we might get thrown out 6 times. The Oakland A's would go first to third 30 times and would get thrown out once. So for those 5 outs that we gave up, we gained over 110 total bases.
Right.
Which is a great trade-off for us. I just think it makes too much sense to there's
your analytics right there.
Yeah, that's the right kind.
That's their analytics. That's total analytics. But unfortunately, base running, everyone's focusing on the negative, the out. Well, nobody's trying to make an out, but it's like
they do the same thing in basketball, Mike. They're like, well, they make 35% from 3. Well, then they're missing 65%. We got a problem here.
Right. Well, they pick up extra point. They pick up extra point when they shoot the threes. That's what they're saying. But
at the end of the day, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you got to. I think you look at the talent of your team. If that's all you have is 3-point shooters, okay, you'll live and die when you're probably going to die with it because
more times than not,
be able to force you out in the perimeter more and more, and you might not get the open look that you're looking at.
Also, when you hit and run and when you bunt, you're forcing the other team to do things they don't want to do or wouldn't do. So you're forcing them into mistakes many times. Can you imagine telling Lou Brock you're not allowed to steal a base?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always point to the 85 Cardinals with Whitey Herzog.
Yeah.
350. They saw over 350 bases. You probably saw a bunch of them in the Eastern Division when they were playing the Mets. But
yeah, I did with Coleman. Yeah.
Where do the 85 Cardinals finish if they don't run the bases aggressively or steal bases? They finish.
We finish in first place, and they don't make the playoffs. Is what happens.
They're fifth. No, they're way down. That was their.
Right.
That was the way they played it.
They ran everything down in the outfield. They ran the bases.
Right. And so if you have a team that's different, like, the Boston Red Sox team is always built around batter's box offense. So they didn't have the personnel to run the bases as aggressively as like the Cardinals did.
I totally agree with you.
They were set on batter's box offense, which was fine.
Right.
But not many, I think there still should be a blend. The hitters aren't going to hit every night. You're going to face good pitchers. You're going to get shut down. Does that mean you just fold it in and lose the game? Or is there a way that you find a way to compete and still try to get a win? So there's a lot of things that go into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was it like to catch Scioscia? Because he was amazing.
Yeah, Oral was something special. Both Fernando and Oral, and I got to catch Don Sutton, Bert Hooton. Jerry. Pitchers, Bobby Welch, Steve Howell, Ramon. I can go down the whole list because the Dodgers were always built on pitching. But Oral was special for a number of reasons. He adapted so well, much like Fernando, but he adapted so well to a game. He was a great game manager as far as on the mound. He wouldn't see his good stuff. He didn't start pitching. He would say, I'm not going to start pitching till I have to. So he'd make good pitches, try to get soft contact, get early outs early in the game. If he had to start pitching, he could bring it up a notch and get after and get out of a jam. So
his cutter, he would use the cutter as the strikeout pitch or the get you out pitch.
The cutter was much later in his career. The cutter was really probably when he went to Cleveland, not as much when he was with the Dodgers. He was really just heavy sinker, which was very erratic movement. I think that's what made it so special. Sometimes it would really go down hard. Sometimes it went more away. He had the heavy sinker, and he had a great curveball.
Right, the sinker.
Developed a great changeup, and it was that combination he just kind of went with, and he was tremendous. And what he did in '88, I don't know if any pitchers ever going to repeat.
Man, he was amazing. He was a one-man wrecking crew.
What he did in the playoffs was crazy.
Yeah. Now you had Pedro on your team a little bit, right? When he was young, Martinez.
Pedro Martinez, I actually caught when he was in the minor league, and he came up to pitch
right
in the spring training game
with his brother. His brother was on your team too, right?
He was on the team already, and Pedro came up, and you just saw this little guy with
he was small,
arm, and I know the Dodgers wish they had kept him. There's no doubt about that.
Now, when you
if you had a time machine to go back in time, for your playing days and coaching, managing, would you change anything?
There's always things I think, there's always little situations you go, oh man, what about this? Or I could have done that, or I could have done that. I wouldn't call them regrets, but there's no doubt there's things that you grow with and you learn from as you move on. As far as my opportunity I had to play at the major leagues and actually getting to the major leagues is I don't think people understand the process and how tough it is, and it's a select few that get that privilege and opportunity. So to go through 4.5 of the years in the minor leagues and get to the major leagues, and there's things you do that you adjust from, and it's part of the learning process. So I wouldn't change a thing. Had a tremendous opportunity, a blessed career to play baseball with the Dodgers, and then another incredible opportunity to manage with the Angels. So yeah, there are little decisions here or there that actually the next night you kind of, after the game's over, you kind of evaluate what went on, and there's things you go like, man, what was I thinking? Why did I do that? That's part of, I think, growth. But as far as changing anything that happened, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't change a thing. It worked out for me. It was a big risk signing professionally when I was 17 and foregoing a scholarship to a great school like Clemson. That was a great risk, but it turned out. So
sure did. Now tell us about the game with Kirk Gibson and the one arm home run.
Really wasn't one armed if you look at it though, Bob. When he leveraged that ball on contact, had both hands leveraged, and it was something he had such a small margin of error because of his swing was really just kind of cut off because he really had no base.
Right.
But he
was hurt, right? He was injured, right?
Indeed. Yeah, it was the last swing he took that year for us. Right. But leading up into that game, like we had taken an early lead. Canseco comes and hits a grand slam, and they're up 4-2. We get back in it 4-3 going to the ninth inning. And we have 2 outs, nobody on. Mike Davis up at the plate, who had played with the A's the year before. Mike had some power if he made a mistake. And I think Dennis Eckersley, after playing with him the year before, said, I know I can't really make a mistake to this guy, because on deck was Dave Anderson, who was the last pinch hitter we had because nobody thought that Kirk could hit. Right. So he pitched carefully to Mike Davis. He walked him. And then obviously Kirk Gibson comes out of the dugout, and fans go crazy, and we didn't even think Kirk was going to be able to play. So as he took his first couple swings, they weren't that bad, really. You just saw, okay, he's going to put the ball in play, just keep the inning going. We had Steve Sachs on deck, and lo and behold, he gets a 3-2 count, and we had a meeting. One of our scouts, Mel Didier, who followed Oakland, he told all the left-handed hitters in our pre-series meeting, he said, look, if Dennis Eckersley's pitching and you're a left-handed hitter and you get to a 3-2 count, he said, you can bet the farm that you're getting a backdoor slider. Mm-hmm. And that situation came up. We were on the dugout going, hey, here's a backdoor slider. And Kirk, he said he stepped out of the box and he said, this could be the backdoor slider, and I got to be ready for it. And he got it and hit it. And when it went out of the park, I mean, it was so unexpected that he was going to hit a ball out of the park. And actually, Mike Davis stole second base during that at-bat, so we're looking for just a base hit.
You're looking for the hit, yeah.
Yeah, and he hits it. And it goes out of the park. And a couple things. I mean, first of all, it's a story of Casey at the bat, but this time Casey hits a home run instead of strikes.
Right, instead of strikes out, yeah.
Unbelievable. But if you watch that ball going out of the stands, Los Angeles is notorious for a lot of fans leaving a little bit early.
A little.
Going into the stands, and you see this row of cars, and all of a sudden, almost like a Christmas tree, the brake lights all go on. So they're listening to the game, obviously, on radio with Vince Scully, and they see the ball going out of the park, and they're thinking, what did I miss?
Right. I heard a lot of people
go on.
were really upset because they missed it, yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah. And then you guys never looked back. You just took them right out.
Played great the next day. Lost a tough one first game in Oakland, game 3, and then beat them really in game 4 and 5 with great pitching.
Right. You guys were awesome that year. It still hurt that you beat my Mets, but you guys were really, really good, and you deserve to win. But and then after that, you end up becoming a manager, and you were in their Dodger farm, and then moved up. Is that what it was? And then you end up with the Angels, right?
I worked in the Dodger minor leagues for about 5 years. I got a chance to manage in AAA, and and then had an opportunity to manage the Angels starting the 2000 season, and had a great experience there. Managed from 2000 to 2018, 19 seasons.
Yeah, you sure
Is there a
did.
particular reason? Is there a particular reason that in baseball it's referred to as a manager as opposed to a coach, or is it just semantics?
No, I think in soccer they refer to it as a manager too. I don't
As
know.
manager in soccer? Yeah, you're right.
But no, that's way before my time. Why they call it a manager? I don't think
We got to dig out the history books, Bob.
Yes. Now you have a special way of blocking the plate. You want to tell us about that?
Well, we're not allowed to anymore. But,
well, you had a special way when you could. So you want to?
I think like I talked about growing up in the Philadelphia area. Every little league we played in, every team we played on, it was really a badge of honor for a catcher to hang in there on a play at the plate.
Yep.
Try to make that out. I mean, they always say, way to hang in there. You try to make the out, and you took your lumps, or maybe you didn't get the ball, you got hit, whatever. But that was all part of what came with that position. So in playing in the minor leagues, being around guys like Johnny Roseborough, who was the toughest individual I ever met in my life.
Yep.
Roy Campanella, Del Crandall, they were always talking about the play at the plate, and how you really needed to be aggressive in it. I just took it to heart and hung in there, and just tried to wait to the last second to make outs at home. And sometimes you did, sometimes you didn't.
And you held the ball a certain way in the glove. Other people.
Well, there are a couple things. I think
Right.
I felt that a lot. If you had the ball in time, you'd always want it in your bare hand with the glove.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the plays are so bang bang, you're trying to catch the ball, and you really want to kind of sweep tag and get it out of there and tag it around.
Mm-hmm.
And try to get your knee on the ground if you had the ball, to try to make him either slide around or stop him if he slid into. So these are things that just develop from trial and error and just trying to make that play.
Right. And you were involved. Go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to ask, any advice to aspiring baseball players and aspiring managers that you'd like to share?
A couple things. I think, first and foremost, I think by experience in the game, you absorb it and you learn it. You certainly want to keep your ears open while you're going through this whole process of playing the game. And if you're a young coach, obviously you want to get as much information as you can. The biggest thing I found in teams I played on and when I was managing was the environment is much more important than the X's and O's. X's and O's have they got their own value. But if the environment that you set is one of you put people in the doghouse, or people play tight because they're afraid to make a mistake, or guys are just playing tentative because you're trying to pound a different style of baseball than they can play, then you're going to have diminishing results. It's going to go the wrong way. But if you have an environment that fosters the freedom to play free, don't worry about a mistake. Let's worry about making plays. Hey, stay aggressive on the bases, stay aggressive defensively, pitch aggressively, know what you're doing in the batter's box. If you can foster that environment, you're going to go a long way to taking care of a lot of those X's and O's and things that come up. So I think the environment is the number one thing that any coach or manager wants to create. And we worked very hard at it when I was with the Angels, very hard on that aspect of it, from starting in spring training all the way through the season, to make sure that environment was one where guys felt they could, they can go out there and play free.
Now, you were involved in 3 no-hitters, 2 you caught and 1 against you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Want to tell us about that?
Well, Nolan Ryan threw a no-hitter against us, so I think that's enough said.
Right.
Yeah.
How tough was that to hit against
further
him?
explanation necessary.
Well, I don't think there was ever a combination of a guy who threw that hard with that kind of breaking ball than Nolan Ryan. I mean,
right. He had that changeup. Yeah.
He was just special. I mean, compete the whole.
Could you see the fastball? Because some players said they couldn't see it sometimes when he.
Well, not in the Astrodome was tough, because if you picked in the Astrodome, it was dingy. That lighting was like looking at you're waiting for a subway in New York with low lighting. I mean, there was not a lot of lighting in the Astrodome, so the ball looked a little bit dark, a little smaller. There's no doubt about that. But
That's a little scary.
I think if Nolan Ryan could have pitched anywhere and had success.
Well, he did with the Mets. He was on the '69 team that won it.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger picture in the no hitters was the two I was fortunate enough to be part of as a catcher, and that's with Fernando Valenzuela and with Kevin Gross. And
Right, Kevin did it right.
Those guys just I know highlighted their career.
They weren't perfect games, right? They were just no hitters.
No hitters, yeah.
Oh wow, that's really great.
Just no hitters, no hitters like that secondary, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, right, of course. That's yeah. So at the plate,
Hey Bob.
Yes.
Hey Bob. Can we just take a moment to congratulate Mike on having the best backdrop in the history of the show so far of all our guests?
Yes, you do.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's one of the last season before I retired with the Dodgers, and it's kind of weird because I know on this one it looks like I'm catching left-handed. I think, doesn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah,
it does. It totally does.
It's weird, but that was given to me. Someone took a picture at Dodger Stadium, and it was really the only place it fits. I don't have a lot in here, but it's the only place it fits. So, my wife Ann is a decorator, so she threw it up there.
Right. Now, you got run over. Way to go, Ann. You got run over at the plate by Jack Clark and Chili Davis. Did you really get knocked out?
I got knocked out when Jack Clark hit me, but I got hit harder by Chili Davis, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't on my glass jaw. That was.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. Those two guys were not small people.
Well, Chili Davis was. He was a tremendous athlete. He was just strong and fast when he was young, and he could fly. And came around third base, just lowered his shoulder, and I don't know how I held the ball, but I held the ball. But man, he hit me.
He used to give Gooden, because the Mets would always go out there and play you guys, and they would always go, the three teams they would play on the West Coast Strip, and I hated it because the Mets could never beat the Giants when they went there, and Chili would just wait for the fastball and clock it. And I'm just sitting going, we lost again. He used to have so much problems against him, and he was a really good player. He really was.
Chili was a great player, played for a long time. And actually, he's a great hitting coach. He really understands the game.
He does. Yep. And when you became manager of the Angels in the early 2000s, when you would play the Yankees, you have I think the only coach that has a winning record against Story, right?
I don't know about that, but they were.
Yeah, I think so.
Tough. They were tough. I almost respect for Joe. Not only.
Yeah.
People don't remember Joe was an MVP in the National League when he played.
I know it.
And he became, a great manager and just loves the game. He's devoted his whole life to baseball. And he was great at setting that environment. I think those Yankee teams, when those young players came up, they felt like they could run through a wall. They were so confident. The one thing we had, we pitched well against them, and that helped us. But we had to play them probably maybe 12 times a year, where teams in the division had to play them like 18. But still, we held our own against them. But believe me, there was no walk in the park.
No, it was never a walk in the park. But I'm going to tell you why. And I used to say it back then because I studied the game so much. The reason you guys could beat them was because of the crazy 100 pitch count. Like, I used to watch Yankee games all the time because the Mets and Yankees are always on here. And the announcers would root for the other. Oh, he's got 99 pitches. It's the fifth. They're going to take him out. Yes. But the thing with you guys was your middle relief and closer were as good as or better than your starters. And the Yankees couldn't handle that. And you guys could beat them. I would always go, come on. Just give us 4 or 5 good innings from the starter, and we got him. Because once we got to that 6th inning, I knew. You had Schoenweiss, you had Shields, you had K-Rod.
Rodriguez, Percival.
And then Percival, the lights out guy, the closer. They couldn't beat you. And I always thought that Garrett Anderson and those guys, and I believe you had did you have Glaus at that time?
Glaus, we had Tim Salmon, we had
Tim Salmon, right. Those guys were, in order to beat the Yankees, you got to go eye to eye with them and go, no. We're taking you out. And everybody was afraid of them, and you guys weren't. And that's why you won. And then I was so happy when you got to that World Series. My brother called me, goes, Bob, I think the Giants got him. And I go, no, the Angels are going to win those last 2 games at home. And then they took out Russ Ortiz. Am I right? You were down 6-0, then you came back and Klaus hit that home run. I'm like, yes.
We're down 5-0.
Yeah.
And we have 7 outs left, or excuse me, 8 outs left.
Yeah.
We got 1 out in the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Before we needed just 3 outs, and all of a sudden we got 6 runs on the board. So we're up 6-5 after the 8th inning from being down 5-0.
Right.
That's crazy.
Oh, it happened. I never forget it.
It just like it was 1 in a million. But our guys kept playing baseball. They were up in the dugout. They felt good. They just kept playing baseball, and that was one of the epic series, really, if you look at it, with Barry Bonds and the firepower the Giants had. But we felt we had a more complete team, and obviously it was nip and tuck, and they came close to beating us, but in the end, I think our depth held out.
Yeah.
Now, Bob, is that the series that your brother walked Coach Gooden out to the field?
Yes, that was the series when I think it was game 2. My brother walked out Coach. He threw out the first pitch, right?
He did. And one of the great moments of my life was just being able to spend some time with Coach Gooden.
I got to meet him too. It was amazing.
Your brother Tony obviously
took care of him
a little better than anybody, but the times that just the times we could sit there and just talk. I had probably anywhere from probably a dozen conversations with him, like for a half hour, just where he would come to a game and come downstairs, or I'd go. Actually, he lives only 20 minutes away from us, or lived only 20 minutes away from us, or go down to his place. And he was a huge baseball fan. Baseball was his first love.
Yes, he was a great player.
His life took him to basketball, and I think he did pretty well there. So.
Yeah, he was a great player and coach.
Yeah,
yes, he was.
He was okay.
Yeah, okay for him. But you talk about like the common sense, the insights, and I really respect the guys that have that kind of experience, because they cut through things so easy. We used to have an old coach, Preston Gomez, his name was, and Preston, old baseball guy from Cuba, just common sense, cut right through everything. So we, same thing with Coach Wood, just listening to him, how there's things you might wrestle with. Well, look at this, and they just go, no, Mike, this is why this you should, do this in that situation.
I know the Angels would always.
The Angels, common sense, huh?
Right. Oh no, I got to talk to him at the McDonald's game in New York, and I couldn't get down there, and I asked the kid, I go, Tony Spino's brother's here. And finally somebody went up and said it to him. He goes, bring him to me. And I just sat with him, and he was amazing. He was so, I loved him. And I'll tell you what, the Angels used to call my brother, because my brother did all the transactions for Coach when he couldn't travel. And you guys always wanted him to go to games as much as he could. And there was one day you guys were playing the Yankees, and my brother said to Coach, the Angels wanted, yes, we'll go. And so when he came in, Jeter found out that he was there, and Jeter got scared like a little kid. Oh, the coach is here. I got to dress up. I'm in shorts. And, and Torrey looked at Jeter and went, he's a basketball coach. He's used to seeing people in shorts. It's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
It's totally okay.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that same I think it was that game, but Coach had come down.
Yeah.
And we were doing our scout meeting with all our coaches. We had about 12 guys in the room, and we're going over. In fact, no, we weren't playing the Yankees, because I knew he just came to our side. He loved Jeter, so anytime he would go there. But he comes to our side, so we're just about to start a meeting, which will last about 45 minutes. And this is like the preparation for the whole series about moves you're going to make and everything. And he came into our room, and I said, Coach, have a seat for a second. And I said, shut your scout books. We shut our scout books, and we listened to him for 45 minutes talking about life experiences. Mm-hmm. We didn't need a scout meeting after that.
Right.
We were ready. And just the inspiration you got from being around such a special person is something I still carry from this day. I mean, I've been so blessed to meet so many special people. I mean, starting with Roy Campanella, I don't think, maybe a lot of people didn't get a chance to spend time around Roy Campanella or know him. I'm sure you know who he was.
My parents loved him. My mother was a Dodger fan.
Special person. I mean, just one of the best persons ever put on this planet. You talk about Coach Gooden. all the special people, Preston Gomez, all the special people, Tommy the Sword, all these special people that have been in your life in some direction for another. Second to my mom and dad, I mean, these people had the biggest influence on my life than anyone. And I can't say, I don't know why it happened, but I'm so privileged to have had an opportunity to meet so special people, because I think it becomes part of you when you talk to people and they inspire you. It becomes part of your persona, and I've been very, very fortunate.
You sure have. And, we're fortunate to have you on because you're great. And I got to tell you, when you guys came in to play the Yankees, and I wanted to go to the game, but you guys had all your families there. And I asked Tim Mead, and Tim's, so I'm texting Tim during the game because I'm home, and you had a third baseman, not very long. He was the first guy that took over for A-Rod. You got him from the Yankees, but he didn't stay there when A-Rod got, suspended. And he came into Yankee Stadium, and C.J. Wilson was pitching for you guys that night. And I'm texting Tim during the game, and he's texting me back. And I go, stop throwing fastballs. The Yankees are laughing at you. I'm watching the broadcast. True story, right? So, and CJ was mixing up because the night before they killed you. And they bragged about it before that game. Oh, fastballs, boom, let's watch another highlight from last night. So when CJ came in, he just mixed every pitch up, right? And the guy that used to play on the Yankees, the third baseman, was with you guys for like a year. He had never hit a home run before. And I'm watching his at bat, texting Tim, and he throws really high fastballs, and he swings and misses twice with the bases loaded. And I go, Tim, this reminds me of the time I played ball. I had 2 high fastballs. I swung and missed the third one. I said to myself, if he throws one there again, I'm clocking it. And sure as I go, if he throws a high fastball, he threw the third high fastball, grand slam. And Tim goes, shh, wow, we won. I go, I told you. And
Yeah.
And then you came out in like the 7th inning, and we're going to take CJ. I go, please tell him no. Please tell him no. I'm taking him. No, he's going good. Please keep him. You kept him in, and you guys won the game. They couldn't hit him.
Yeah.
And I'm big on keeping the guy in if he's going good.
That worked out that time. That's one of my few good moves.
You made a million good moves. Are you kidding? But
speaking of good moves, how are you feeling about the upcoming USA team managing the team?
I'm really excited about it. I mean, we're in the process right now. In fact, I got to get off this in a couple minutes because we have a Zoom meeting with USA Baseball. We're in the process right now of putting a club together, and the response has been incredible. I mean, the response from guys that are, we can't take guys that are in the major leagues. We can't take guys that are on the 40-man roster, but we can take anybody else. And some major leaguers that have just recently retired last year are swarming to us saying, I want to put a USA jersey on. I want to be part of this. So the blend of the veteran guys that still have enough in their tank with a lot of the younger kids that are coming up that are really energetic. We're excited about our team and our chances. Now, we've got a tough road ahead of us because they didn't qualify in 2019. So we have to go to Florida and first qualify for the Olympics in a tough division with Cuba, Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Colombia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a tough pool play down there, but hopefully we're going to play at the level we need. And if we qualify, we'll go to Tokyo at the end of July and hopefully have a chance for Olympic gold medal.
Yeah, that'd be really, really great. So it's all going to be college players, right?
No college players, it's all professional. But
really,
some AAA, AA players,
okay,
major leaguers that weren't in camp or just recently retired.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. Do you still want to coach?
I'm happy doing what I'm doing. No, I don't really. I think as far as managing the major leagues, no, I don't. I just don't see the time commitment I would want to put in it to do what you need to do. We just became grandparents last month, so 42 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So like 42 years on the road in baseball, I think is enough. And I'm 62 years old, so I'm happy with where our life is and things I can do in the summer that I never had a chance to do. So this Olympic challenge is going to be really neat, but I don't anticipate, or not anticipate, I won't go any further. I don't see managing in the major leagues anymore.
Yeah, I thought you were really gonna go for the Philly job when Girardi got it, because you're a Philly guy, you know. You're a
Yeah, well, I
Pennsylvania
mean,
guy.
yeah, um, things happen for a reason, and although some teams kicked the tires when I left the Angels just to see what I was interested in,
Right.
as time went on, it didn't appeal to me anymore to get back on that grind.
Wow.
And I think I'm happy where I am now. I'm doing some consulting for a couple teams. I'm doing some stuff with USA Baseball. I'm doing something with Major League Baseball. But as far as that grind of getting back on that treadmill of
Coaching.
of of what a major league season's about, no, I don't see it. I think 19 years was enough. That's part of
Wow.
managing. Like I said, 42 years in the game. That's a long time.
That's a blessed life. There's no doubt about it.
Quite the career. Quite the career.
Yeah.
Anything else to share before you go?
No, I'm happy to talk to you guys. I love talking baseball.
Like we could talk all day, and we want you to come back, Mike.
I'll come back
Absolutely.
and talk. I think there's a lot of things to discuss about where the game is now and where the game
Right.
hopefully will be in 10 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to talk about, and hopefully some good decisions are going to be made about getting this game restored to all the beautiful parts of it. And I think if we can make strides in doing that, not that analytics are ever going to leave the game,
I wish.
but
I'm saying it. You don't got to say it. I'll say it. Well, you know what, Mike? Look,
analytics have been part of the game forever. I mean,
yeah, but it's the right kind. They're looking at the wrong kind now.
Connie Mack.
To me, for every 10
he
stats.
he had his little scorecard rolled up and was moving guys. He had a chart on analytics of where
I know, but it wasn't overanalyzing. I think they're overanalyzing now, and
Well,
it's leading them astray. I think
there's things, and just to be fair, we would get things from our analytic department. They would ask us, "How can you apply it?" And if we looked at it and we said, "Can't apply this. It makes no sense. We can't. It's not going to make us better." They went, "Okay, good. We'll keep trying." So they're trying to find things that will give you a little bit of an edge. But I think the analytic departments understand that the experience of major league or guys who've been in the game for a long time is important to how do you we want applicable analytics. And we would always search and we come up with applicable analytics over the course of time. And it would give you a little bit of an edge, no doubt about it. So I think they're going to be here to stay. I think a lot of them are really, really eye-popping as to what this game can be about. And then some of them have absolutely no application, no input or impact in what we do in the dugout.
Yeah. Well, look, analytics lost Tampa Bay that series because the Dodgers finally won since the last time since you were there. And I mean, they took Snell out, and if they kept him in, I mean, you can't say for sure that Tampa would have won, but it's a good bet the way he was wrong. Sometimes you just got to use your common sense and your baseball knowledge and the fact that you played it before. Everybody was going crazy when Cash did that. I mean, but
it's all part of it. It's a part of, I think, the blend that'll continue to happen.
Right.
As I spoke earlier, if roster sizes get back to 25, there's a reason why they were set at 25. Then I think pitching management is going to force everything to get back to kind of, where it should.
So sometimes it's a hard road home, but it's a different route home, but it comes back to the way it was. And you know what, too? Remember you were saying about trying to speed up the game. If you do that, the problem is this is not just a physical game; it's a chess match too. And the beauty of thinking and working things out and making things a little longer. People are so impatient today; they don't see that. They just want the game to get over quick, like it's a drive-through.
I want to knock the dead time out of the game too. I'm great at knocking the dead time out of the game. The biggest dead time we have is between innings. As the game evolves, people are looking at the strategy. A guy steps out of the box for a couple of seconds, gets back in, it brings everything to life again, and we're going, we're moving. So I'm looking at this game kind of re-evolving, or not devolving, but re-evolving into where you get the action more concentrated. And part of that is taking out the dead time between innings. I mean, even it happens in a football game. You can watch a football game in person. All of a sudden, a ref blows a whistle and nothing happens for 7 minutes, and you're going like,
Yeah.
Like what happened?
What are we doing here?
Right.
Baseball, the action is already kind of the action is at a different speed, and we love the action. We live it. We see it. We feel
Right. It's a different speed.
But it's a different speed than hockey or basketball.
Right.
So take out the commercial time, or not take out, redesign the commercial time. Take out the just the excessive commercial time, and let's redistribute it in some fashion with, like I said, golf, walking through, playing through, where you see the action starting, the commercial's finishing, then it blends back. Maybe you miss a pitch, but you've seen the pitch. Maybe you just haven't heard an announcer talk about the pitch. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you've seen a pitch. And also in Japan, a couple of things. Like Japan, the pitchers only take 6 warm-ups between innings instead of our 8. You don't need the 8 pitches between innings. You take them because the commercial time is so long. Right. This should be redesigned before we start affecting the game.
Well, with 2 outs and nobody on, changing a pitcher slows the game down too. And sometimes you don't need to do it.
You don't need to do it.
No,
I don't agree with you at all.
Really?
You do what the game needs. You don't say, "Oh, it's going to slow the game. I'm going to take a picture." No, you do what the game needs. But that's all water under the bridge. No one's going to notice that if you cut out the extra 14 or 15 minutes between innings.
Okay.
So now you got time of game where now it's close to 3 hours, the average time of game. You get it back down to 2:45,
right, and
everybody's happy if you have a 2.5-hour game. Also, like I'm talking about how pitching's evolving. One of the best games ever played was the 7th game of the 1960 World Series, which was the Pirates against the Yankees.
Mazeroski, hitting the home run.
Score ended up being 11-10, I think it was. I forget what it was. Mazeroski hits a home run.
I think it was 9-7, but yeah, you're right.
Whatever it was, yeah. Could have been 9-7. Whatever, it was a close game, but he hits a walk-off home run.
Right.
You know how many hitters struck out in that game? Take a guess. Both teams.
I don't know.
0.
No clue.
0.
No strikeouts.
Right.
So you talk about action in a game, that's what we're looking for.
Right. Of course.
But if you're bringing one pitcher in every inning, they'll throw 99 miles an hour, strikeouts are going to go up. But the system lets teams do this because bullpens are becoming more prevalent. And if you're not using the pitcher a lot, they're going to throw harder. But you're going to be able to use more of them because you can have 14 pitchers on the staff, and you're just going to keep rolling them out there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I personally don't mind it. I like a longer game. I just love baseball. I don't care if it's an hour, 2 hours, 3. I don't really care.
You're the first person I ever heard to say you want a longer game.
I don't care, but I don't care.
I want to cut the games in half.
I want to see
80-game season.
I'm a chess player, so I just love the I loved it since I was a little kid sitting there with my milk and cookies.
Yeah,
I used to watch it at 4 years old. So
I'm with you on the game. The game's beautiful. I want to see
right,
the game.
right.
I don't want to see the extra 45 seconds between every half inning that is not the game.
No, I mean, look, I believe in cutting commercials. That I believe, sure.
Yeah, but commercials pay the freight, but let's get those commercials to where, like I keep saying it, where you have picture in picture.
Right.
This is 2021. This isn't 1961. So we can redesign between innings to be more effective and efficient and cut down the dead time and that people are at the ballpark or people are watching the game at home. I think that's the first place to start.
Well, that's fine. And that I don't have a problem with because I don't like the 3,000 commercials every half inning. But the game itself, I don't think that they should mess with it all that much because it's the best game on earth.
Right.
That's that I agree with that. You know what I mean? But if a game goes 3, it goes 3. Every Yankee game goes 3. That's for sure.
No doubt, because they're hitting 4 home runs a game because they got a 230-foot fence out there in right field. It's crazy.
And that's, I mean, we could talk about that on another show, but I mean, I still think that and I believe in pitching and defense, but I believe the original statement was, and vice versa, because they say, good pitching and D stops good hitting, but nobody ever remembers what the guy said, and vice versa. the Yankees still win all the World Series because they hit the most home runs and get the most doubles and triples.
Well,
They do.
Yeah, they get a great team. They play.
Yeah.
And then, you know
I
what?
say so.
I always respect the fact of like when Joe was there, Joe Torre, Joe Girardi.
Right.
You know, I know that that Booney feels the same way. They play the game the right way. You know,
That's right.
No team ran harder down the lines than the Yankees. No team looked to take an extra break than the Yankees. So they were more than just playing slow pitch softball, even though they had that type of team, you know, that that could do that, and they had a type of stadium to play that in. I mean, it is a tiny stadium, and you know, they magnified their, you know, they magnified their team to meet the ballpark, and they played. And then
That's
they
right.
had success with it.
They always knew who to get, and
Yep.
and you know what? My brother used to say it too. Like when we were little, you know, you think you haven't beat 6-7 innings in, and they'd be just sitting there going, you know, you ain't beating us. 8th and 9th will kill you, and they used to.
Yep.
And sometimes they didn't even wait that long. They just kill you from the get-go.
Yep.
But they always could hit the ball. And ironically, now they're not playing well. And the guy came on, like one of their beat reporters said, the Yankees hit home runs. They're not hitting them now. That's why we're not winning. And I've been saying that for years. Hitting, look, you guys could hit with them, and you had the middle relief and close.
Don't forget Mariano Rivera.
Huh?
Don't forget Mariano Rivera.
Oh no, I'm
Never
not. No,
forget
no,
him.
no. I'm not. I don't overlook
Changed the
pitching
whole
and D.
dynamics. He changed the whole dynamics of that team. And I think that they're looking for that aspect right now. They've got some good arms in the pen, but Mariano Rivera was a special talent, special guy.
Of course he was.
Transformed that team as much as anything that happened, and more so than anything that happened, even with, you know, when you had Jeter, Posada,
Sure.
all the young guys coming up at the same time. He changed the course of that franchise almost single-handedly.
And they were going to trade him after the first year, unbelievably. They considered doing it.
I'll tell you that.
No, but you know what? Like, I'm not knocking pitching and defense and all their roles, but people overlook offense. There's got to be. I mean, the reason you have pitching and D is to stop a good offense. I mean,
I'm going to disagree with you. And I got to go here in a second.
Okay.
No one's overlooking offense, but the way you control a game is pitching and defense. So if you're facing Dwight Gooden on the mound and you're going against him,
yeah,
you got to pitch with him. You don't have to hit him right now. You're going to battle. You're going to try, but you got to pitch with him. You got to play defense, and you got to get, you know, you got to maybe be a 2-1 game in the 6th inning, and then you get a chance maybe to squeak a run or do whatever. You come back and do it. That's how you win those games.
I know. No, you're saying it. I get it. I get all that.
Pitching and defense is like the metronome. It just keeps going, keeps you there, keeps you where you need.
But don't forget that pitcher who was great. It was your hit that stopped him.
Yeah.
It was that home run. Oh yeah.
But anyway, guys, look, great talking to you.
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely, it's great.
We love to have you on. We hope you come back.
Sure. Love to.
Give us an update. Come back on. Talk about the Olympics when you come back.
Love to. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck. Stay peaceful.
Okay.
Bye
Have a
now.
nice day.
Mike Scioscia, folks. One of the greats all time, and so successful as a manager. I mean, just every year they were great.
And as a player.
And yeah, I mean, he's a champion through and through, and it was a pleasure to talk to him.
Yeah, I could talk baseball with him all day.
Oh yeah, we could have kept going for hours, and we would have been enlightened and educated, no doubt.
Right.
A serious scholar of the game, you could tell.
Oh yeah.
But hey, so stay tuned, folks. Remember to like and subscribe because there's going to be more coming. This is just the beginning.
And we have a big show in the summer, don't we, Rob?
Yeah, that's an understatement of the century. So you're going to have to pay attention. Stay close.